Can you not hear anything? Wait, no sound. Damn it, I brought on the wrong camera. Let me do this again. So, there's always something happening. So, the main camera, which is the up close version of me right here, this one carries the audio. The other one does not. So, that's why you can hear me. So, what I was saying was we have the barbecue smoke and smoke out coming right up here. You can go to madmanplant.com and you can choose whether you're going to attend or you're going to do the VIP and get a swag bag. $20 minimum donation for the swag bag. It'll be filled with a bunch of good items. And then we also have, if you're attending or competing, if you're a vendor, you'll need to fill it out twice if you're a competitor and a vendor. This way we have it all organized because different emails will be going to different categories of people. My tattoo on my ankle, or I should say calf, is healing up pretty nicely. I got Honey's paw prints, and you can see that done on my Instagram, which was pretty cool, done by Emilio. Shout out to him. Black Horse Tattoo. They are awesome. And guess what? They're going to be at my event doing tattoos. Every dollar that's raised from people getting tattoos is also going to be donated to the charity event. So this event, you'll get some tattoos, you'll get some knowledge, you'll have some clones. It's going to be good. Stopping by to say hi. That's right, Midnight Toker. So tonight's guest is a well-known grower, somebody in the community, and somebody that is a big supporter of the program, and we are a big supporter of her. I want to go ahead and welcome Cece to the stage here. Welcome. How are you?
Let's try to unmute. Hi.
Right. We're all full of problems. How's it going?
Oh, it's going good at the moment. Just, life.
Well, that is awesome. Life is unpredictable and always ever changing and ever going. But, we can get through it together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everything's changing around my house lately. So it's, but it's going to be all right. It's changing for the better.
Oh, yeah. Biggest thing is attitude and mindset. Letting things come and go as they pass, and then just holding on to the real things that matter, especially when they feel overwhelming.
Yes, and that's one thing I've gotten good at doing. So we'll move it along. We keep it rolling.
Yeah. So before we get started, what are you smoking on tonight? See, tonight I actually have dabs, which are amazing. Because see, I was filming in Maryland on Monday, and I'd stopped by the dispensary. So this is called Pi Ho, and 78.67% cannabinoids, 8.40% terpenes. Yeah. What about you?
No, well, as y'all know, most of you, if you know me, sorry, I had to change glasses. You're too close. Yeah, sucks getting old.
You're not
I don't
old.
smoke. Oh, yeah, tell that to my young adults.
I know. And that's actually part of the conversation that we're going to have tonight is what is it like to grow and not smoke?
Yes. So I don't smoke. I actually grow for my husband. And I have not, yes, tomorrow will be 1 year that I have been growing. So not quite that long compared to a lot of people, but I'm fairly decent at it. And I grow for him for mental and health reasons.
Well, that's perfect, which honestly brings us into our first topic tonight, which pretty much is, describe the moment or series of events that led up to growing cannabis in general.
Honestly, it was getting too expensive not to.
Yeah. Yes. Some honesty. I love it.
Yes. Well, it's just, if you have the option of going to a dispensary or, somebody that you know, it is more and more expensive every time. And you don't get the same quality that you would get if you did grow. So my brother-in-law was a breeder. Some of y'all know and some of you don't. It was the Nachos and El Sapo brand. And so he grew and we had all the information and everything. And I was like, well, let's give it a try. What could it hurt? Throw a couple seeds in the dirt and let's see where we go from there. He was like, okay. So we started doing our research, figuring out what we wanted to do, how to do it, the best way to do it. And, 4 tenths later, as you can see a couple behind me now, it has taken over my entire bedroom.
Isn't that funny how you start with one thing and then it's like a little nest. Oh, we'll just add another one. Oh, we'll just add another one. Oh my God, the whole house is full.
Yeah, well, if you've seen any of my posts on Instagram, for the longest time it says #lights for Cece, because I've needed new lights for quite a while. Well, we finally got some.
That's
so
awesome.
The hashtag is now gone. Not that we couldn't use more if somebody just wants to donate them, but it just started with one plant, and as he was like, well, this is awesome, and it is an investment to begin with, but overall I'm investing in his physical and mental health. So that was what was most important to me. So
not only that, but the value of cutting costs, being in control of your inputs, knowing where it came from, not running the risk of it having it be laced with fentanyl and all these other nasty fucking stuff that's in it. I think that's also the clarity too, is wow, I get to enjoy this and I know exactly where this came from. I know everything about this, what it is, and I can share that with other people. I think one of the biggest things I think is kind of idiotic is like when I would go to National Cannabis Festival and you'd say, oh, well, what are you smoking on? Oh, some stank. Oh, okay. Well, who's it made by? Oh, I don't know. I got it from that guy. Then you go over to that guy and you're like, well, where'd you get the stuff from? Oh, we got it from Oregon. Well, okay. Well, what strain is it? Oh, I'm not exactly sure. Like, what do you mean? Like, how do we not know these answers? Why aren't we doing the research? We love weed that much to be ignorant.
Yeah, and to be honest, before we started doing this, we didn't know. I mean, I knew a little bit from talking to my sister and my brother-in-law, but I mean, we didn't get into a lot of those conversations. And that was just one thing that, once we started doing the research and looking for it, and that we actually you can just come sit in here. You don't have to be on camera. Sorry, Mr. Cece is going to be in here with me, but okay, just go then. I'll do it. It's fine. He was trying to get the link, but to get on here, he was going to come on here too, but he's having trouble finding the link.
Here, I'll send it. I'll put the link in chat. Yep.
Yeah, he's got. He'll put it in the chat for you.
Only Mr. CC hit the link tonight.
But we didn't know a lot about growing at all, and you, like anything else, get down that rabbit hole. You learn about the different breeders and different strains, and you learn about the plant and what all it does, and you're like, oh well, I didn't know enough to go. I was like, what's terpenes? What's this? I grew up with, weed just smelled like weed. It just what it was. There wasn't there, and now he's been smoking almost all of his life, whereas I haven't smoked. So it was just it just was what it was. It was around here. You got what you got, and that was pretty much it. So you learn what you can do, and there's different types and there's different strains, and it was just it really was a rabbit hole. And we were like, oh my gosh, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing is we don't know what we don't know, and I think that's the biggest life's biggest challenge.
Yeah, I mean, because growing up, from what I knew, oh well, stoners were slackers, and they were always the misfit kids that grew up down the road, and
Well, I did grow up down the road.
Hey, honey.
Hi.
But for those of you that don't know, this is Mr. CC, my husband.
Hello, everyone.
But most of you, if you know me, you've heard of him. This is the consumer. So.
Sorry, everybody. I'm pressing also while we're talking.
Yeah, we're getting ready to go out of town tomorrow for work. So he's trying to prepare. So we're just going a little bit away. So.
Yeah, but, no, that's great. So let's talk about. Oh, God. Go ahead, Cece.
Oh no, go ahead. Let's talk about what?
Oh, I was talking about some of the challenges initially that you guys both encountered with the growing. Like, what were some of your main setbacks? What are the things you learned right off the bat?
Well, the first lesson I learned is I don't like soil. First figuring out what to grow, what different strains have to offer. Of course, I started with my brother-in-law stuff.
Mr. CC, can you mute your mic until you talk? Sorry about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good. It is, what would actually help. We were just trying to see initially with the strain that we were growing, can I do this? So it was, okay, like every grower, you look online, you Google this and you go, oh, well, hey, I can get Fox Farm. I can get this readily available. So you put some seeds in the soil and you just take off from there. But then you realize, oh, there's more to it than this. I need to know about the plant. I need to know what it's going to do. You learn, oh my gosh, it's turning yellow. It got this big. What are we doing wrong? So just trials and tribulations and learning how to change things. And once you find this out, okay, what can we do to correct it, or how can we make this better? So that's basically where we have started from. And then once we did a lot of research on different mediums and different nutrients, we decided, let's try this way. It's always, if y'all know me, I like to experiment. So I'm always trying new and different little things to see where I can improve and where I can grow and how to get things better quality, better flavor, better effects. What
we try to be as
scientific
as possible.
Yeah.
With everything we do. We want to do control. We do a control. If we do an experiment, we normally do one plant as a control and another one as the experiment, so that we know what's the training do, what doesn't the training do. Is what she does. She's methodical with it, really.
You have to be methodical with it. I mean, if you're really trying to get the most out of these plants, it is a science. Like anybody can grow weed, but then that's also where people wind up with these really spindly looking plants. And it's like, I thought weed was more of a bush, and, that kind of looks like a stick bug, but, it's true. I mean, not all growing is equal, and I want to make sure that people do get educated, but there is a science, I think. And then also I think the science is what helps us fight the stigma, because we're not looking at this as just, dumb gardeners. We're looking at this as, scientific, just like anybody else would with any other plant. And when you involve the science background, and especially like the mental health and the other aspects about it, I think that's where you start to really kind of like intelligently show the value of weed. Like I think a lot of people are like, oh, you just some water, some stuff like this. And it's like, oh no, you got to pay attention to this. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to make sure this is good. And it's like, oh, wow, that is a lot. That does take a little bit of knowledge, So I definitely do agree with you on that.
Yeah, and it really does. I honestly, to me, it takes a lot of knowledge. You can't grow and grow quality just trying to do things half-ass. It doesn't work that way. You have to have the knowledge and the background and the drive to get better and learn as you go. Not only learning from online, but learning from other people that have done it for all of these years. They've made those mistakes. They know what to do and what not to do. And just asking for help is the best thing 9 times out of 10 you can do.
Yeah.
So, and growing the community and the people around you that we have, there's not a person that I couldn't just get on IG or something and go, hey, can you help me with this? And they're like, oh, absolutely. And if they don't know the answer, they'll go find somebody that does.
Yeah. Yeah. Very fair enough.
Yeah, it's the community is an awesome thing. And I will tell you, I have never had this in any other aspect of my life. And I think that's what makes it so special. And it only makes me want to get more and more involved because of the community and the people.
Yeah, I mean, the community's not perfect. It does have its drama. It does have its politics. But for the most part, I do think that the community has a good mindset and has a good heart for for people and working together and really trying to help other people get to that level. But just with everything, nothing's perfect. So I do agree with you in that sense.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're going to have good and bad with everything. You're going to have people that will help you, some people that won't. But you learn, like any other aspect of life, who you can go to and who you can't. When I first got into this community and started talking to people, the first person I actually came across that actually reached out and we talked a little bit was El Canosaur.
So I think he might be in the chat.
Yeah, what a great introduction to the community. I mean, it was, we talked and it was just awesome getting to know him and then being brought into other people within the community that would like, oh, hey, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. All right, you know him, so then you must be awesome. All right, let's get to talk to you.
Oh, I definitely agree. And El Connoisseur, you're an awesome dude, doing great things, and appreciate all the stuff. And that's the thing too. Is if we're all on the same page, if we're all trying to push each other forward, pushing ourselves forward. I mean, that's the biggest part. Is the things that we do independently of the collaborations and stuff. The true value, the why factor of why we do what we do. And I think that is one of probably the most important things, because it's one thing here to just sit in our basements or our houses and just grow weed, but our level of impact on the community, on other people, and how we make people believe in themselves, and how we take, like I keep saying, take them people to the next level. That's done by growing, not only your garden but yourself. And I think being out here networking, strategizing, building relationships, building partnerships is a beautiful way to do that. So now what I want to do is talk a little bit about you and your husband's relationship. So and then this is also where we'll be pulling him in to talk a little bit about some more stuff directly on him, but discuss your the changes in the dynamics, emotional and spiritual and physical, through the ability of growing cannabis together. Like, how has that changed in the last year, would you say?
Honestly, to me, it's only brought us closer together. And in some ways, to be honest, a little bit further apart than others. Because he's not as much into the social media side of it as I am, but the closer together because we sit here and we talk about it. And I will tell you that's pretty much, other than work, 80% of our conversations are about growing and who's doing what and what genetics we want to do next and where this person is and where, just where we want to be and where we see ourselves. I mean, he's looking into different things as far as eventually breeding and seeing how far we want to take this, to try to find him the best possible medicine that he could have, as well as have fun doing it. But to me, I mean, we spend a lot of time. He helps me. Initially, it was a lot of me just doing the growing and him doing, connoisseur Carl tasting everything. But he got more and more into helping me. And yes, as Macho says, a team. We have become a team together in our grow, because he will help me water. He will help me move things around. He pretty much builds all the tents. So
while she was working, I would get the nutrients started mixing before she would come home for work, so they'd be ready. Mm-hmm. So stuff like that, I would have, I have dinner ready most nights because I like to cook food. So I cook all of our meals. So that's one way to I'll cook while she's doing the plants. So we kind of tag team so that we can spend time together when we're not doing stuff together, or doing stuff like working around the house. Yeah, I have been a little lonely lately, my dear.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing that I struggle with and that we're trying to figure out, because as I get more and more into the social media side of it, talking to people, doing some network, it's always that fine balance of trying to figure out family and social media. When to cut it off, when to spend more time with the husband and the kids and doing that kind of stuff. So that's kind of, I think that's our only, as far as I know, our only issue with trying to work out stuff between the grow and our relationship. But we're very open and honest with each other. We talk about everything. There's no secrets between us for anything. And I think that's the most important. Yeah, they do. They're like, hey, don't tell mom or don't tell dad. And we're like, we're going to tell, right? We don't keep secrets.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, me and Lacey echo that type of relationship, man. The work-life balance between, content, because like I'm a business owner as well, own several different companies. So it's always like a hamster wheel. You're always running the kind of the gambit, if you will. I think the biggest thing, is to try to focus is I've done what's called like block hours. So for 4 hours at a time, 4 different days out of the week, including weekends. I separate from like 8 to 12, for just like, my Good Luck Stuff, my production company. And then I have the same type for Madman Plant. So that's 8 and 8 is 16. So that's 32 hours a week, essentially, or actually a month, that I'm able to work on my business. And the difference between, actually working on your business, which is, actually growing the business, and then the difference between working in your business or in your, relationship or your family or whatever like that, is actually the fundamentals, making dinner, taking care of the plants, going to baseball practice, whatever. The working on is very important. And if you can set up block periods where it's like, okay, well, I'm only going to take this amount of time, and these are my most important tasks, and in 4 hours I'm just going to dedicate myself to XYZ. And then you can create that space because all that heavy lifting has been done. You know what I mean? And then you can set time for your family. You know, biggest thing, like Jeff Bezos says, is stress doesn't come from hard work. Stress comes from not getting things done. And I fully agree with that. It's not the
Yeah.
challenge, it's the not getting it done part. And you know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and I'm not perfect either, but I have found that block period has really helped my performance and just staying organized. Oh man, this is so important. Cool. Write it down on the list. Block period is going to be on Tuesday from 8 a.m. to 12. That's when I'm going to get it done. From right out now, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to continue spending time with my family. I'm going to go out and enjoy the day. You know what I mean? Oh my God, this is so important. Cool. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm gonna put it on my calendar. There's my block period. That's when I'm going to worry about it. You know, so that would be my advice too.
Well, and I actually, because you know, I also have started writing stuff down and making a calendar
Yeah.
to go, okay, this day I need to do this and this and this. And it's personal and business stuff. And some of the things that I figured I could start doing even on social media is the hours that I'm answering the phone and working on business stuff. I can also do that during the daytime so that once he comes home in the evenings, other than if we're going to watch a live together or do something, I can always watch those later and spend time with him or listen to him while I'm doing the plants and he's cooking dinner if we're separated or, you know, so I've kind of, now that I'm home and I no longer have a outside of the company full-time job, I can arrange those hours. So that's gonna, I think that's really gonna help and make it a lot easier because I'm not working a 8 to 5 job anymore. So
I'm 7:45 to 6.
Yeah, most times. So today was my official last day. So I am now home to run our company and help grow our family business and everything.
Yeah.
So, yep.
That's
so
what
it
it's
official.
all about.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, I think that's great.
Mm-hmm. So it was this 5 months in the making. Actually, he's been trying to get me to do it for 2 years, but I finally told them. I mean, I put in. You know, aren't very many employees that'll put in a 5-month notice. But
that
I
was
did.
nice.
Oh yeah. Well, and
some people just don't even show up.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. But honestly, even in 5 months, they still didn't find anybody that can do pretty much everything that I do, much less to even fill my position at that point. So, but it is what it is. I have to do what's best for my family.
No, and I think that's the mindset you have to have. Maybe it doesn't fit other people's standards or whatever, but it's not about them. It's about you and your family, and only you guys know best as a family. You know what that looks like. So
yes, and together as a unit, we can make it work. Between he and I mean, we've been able to, you know, do everything from paying off our debt to building our credit to buying a house to, you know, starting
up that credit.
To doing this amazing grow journey with each other, starting a company. You know, we truly are a team. So, and I think the longer we're married, the better it'll get. So
I hope so.
Oh, well,
I will tell you this about her. When we met, it was less than 6 months. I looked at her one day, and we'd been living together for about 4 months. And I said, I want to tell you something. It feels like we've been together for 10 years, and I mean that in the best way possible. We just clicked almost automatically when we met, and that's how our relationship has been. We were like a married couple 6 months into our relationship, like a married for 10 years, just comfortable with each other, just It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You said it was.
Yeah,
Well, I
it
mean,
was
it still
awesome.
is.
Yeah, we got
It still
married
is.
a
I'm
year
just
ago,
saying.
so
That's good.
We've been together for 11 years and just got married last year,
yeah.
right after our 10th anniversary of dating.
That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's the way. I
So
mean, that's the way me and Lacey are. Is you like? There'll be times where we're really going through it. Life's kicking us, and it's like, a simple text of like, "Hey, we got this," or "Hey, everything's gonna be okay. I got your back," or whatever.
right.
So it's one of those things too where you're constantly, if you're in line with that person and you guys can see through the darkness, you guys will be a lot stronger. I think when life really gets in the way, it comes to finances, it comes to the day to day, it can really, dictate people and kind of how they act and behave. And I think in a real sense like that, it really shows the true qualities of people. It's how do they get through a hard time together? What do they do to support each other? How does that look and how does that work? So I think it's awesome that you guys are like that, because it's a hard,
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult when things are going wrong to be there,
Oh
Right.
yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing is that a lot of people go into relationships and marriage like, yeah, if I don't like it, I can get out of it.
Mhm. I'll
That's
just
not
quit.
what. Yeah, I'll just quit. That's fine. I'm over it. And a lot of people don't understand marriage is it's work and it's constant work. You have to work and you have to work together. It's not
Unless you
you
find
have
that
to have
certain person.
right. I mean, and both of us have been in relationships that we have gotten out of. I was previously married, and so it was. We've all been in those horrible relationships that we had to get out of in order to save ourselves. So we knew what we were looking for and what we didn't want in somebody else.
I'm still
So
kind of messed up from my ex, and I've been away from her for 12 years.
yes, yeah.
Well, speaking of you, let's go ahead and jump on the topic of you, if you don't mind here.
I
Me,
don't mind them
I like to
cleaning
dig.
up.
So before all of this, you used to be a meth addict, and I'd like for you
Hmm.
to talk a little bit about that, because you didn't use cannabis to get sober. You wanted to get sober because you had a better desire of life. So let's talk
Correct.
a little bit about your old ways and what that looked like, and how that's kind of led up to now with all the the ADHD, the bipolar, the autism, and everything like that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll go back a little bit further. I started smoking when I was 15. My brothers got me high one day. Just left me to do my algebra homework, and I just loved the way I felt because I felt so much happier with my life. Because I've had suicidal thoughts since I was about 12 or 13. I have severe food allergies that I've had since I was 6 years old. So most foods that I eat try to kill me. I
Mm,
can't have any poultry, seafood, peas, certain seasonings. It's a crapshoot if I eat food that I haven't cooked to know if I'm going to survive or not, because I go into anaphylactic shock. So I deal with that kind of depression on a daily basis, where I feel like I could die just from eating a meal. So I've dealt with that a lot. And the cannabis helped me back then, and I smoked for a long time. And then I was living in my friend's. I was sharing a room with her little brother because I had nowhere else to live because my parents were they were doing meth, and I didn't want to be around them at the time. I didn't want to do it or anything, and I was depressed. So I did some cocaine the first time, and then I was hooked. I wanted that high, that upper high. I want to be able to just stay awake all the time and not do anything because I don't sleep much anyway. I have insomnia. I sleep on average about 4 to 5 hours a night. So I started doing meth when I was 19 because it was easily accessible. I didn't have to pay for it. I could go hang out with my dad because he was cooking it. My aunt and uncle had it because they were getting it from my dad. All my friends. I mean, it was so readily available that I didn't have to pay for it. So I just started doing it. And then I got to the point where I was sleeping maybe right at the height of my addiction, maybe 3 days a month. So I was up 14, 17 days at a time, hallucinating, going insane, really. And I decided I wanted a different life. I was 22 years old, and I just didn't want to live like an addict. I didn't want to live that stereotypical life. And I grew up really poor, really, as a teenager. My dad made $400 a week to support me, my 4 brothers, my sister, and my stepmom. So all my money from the time I was 15 was mine. I've had to work from the time I was 15 just to support myself. And I mean, while I was in my addiction, I was living out of a backpack, from friend's couch to friend's couch when I would sleep. It was just a rough way to live, and I just didn't want to live that way anymore. I grew up and said, this sucks. And it took me drinking alcohol for about 6 months, being an alcoholic. And then I just decided, I don't want to do this either. I don't like waking up feeling like shit. I just want to smoke weed every day so that I can be mellow and calm, because I have rage issues also. And I talk a lot, if you can't tell, because I'm really sober right now. My dab rig's plugged up, so I'm cleaning it while I'm talking.
That's funny.
So, yeah. But, yeah, where was I going? I went off on the tangent, sorry.
No, it was great. You were pretty much saying that you went from the meth, and then you did alcohol for a little bit, but you didn't like that, so
correct.
You were carrying on, and then you were back at the cannabis.
Yeah, and then I quit that for 5 years, not by my own choice. My ex, the mother of my child, my bad relationship, she actually gave me an ultimatum and said, it's me or the weed. I was young.
That one before.
Yep, I was young. She has a daughter that's older. She's 25 now. When I met her, she was 5, and I fell in love with both of them. As a dad as a dad to her, because she didn't have a father at all, and I was being that father figure for her, and I loved that because she had someone, a positive role model, really. And then I had the woman, and then I chose that, and then I was miserable because I'm miserable when I don't smoke. Because I suffer from depression, and every medicine I've ever been given gives me serious side effects that I'm either in so much pain I can't work, because I know for sure a herniated disc in my neck, but I've got more issues with the rest of my spine that I just can't afford to get looked at right now. Because I use cannabis for pain and for the mental health. I use it for both.
Yeah.
So when I'm not at work, because I do a job where I drive all day. I'm not a commercial driver, but I drive from house to house doing. I do appliance repair. I'll tell you what I do because nobody knows where I am actually. But I repair washers, dryers, that kind of stuff. So I have to be sober while I do all that because I'm in people's houses and it's a big liability. And a lot of my customers are DEA agents, state troopers, people like that. So I go to a lot of high profile places that I don't want to go in with any kind of sign that I use anything because I don't want any heat on my house.
Yeah.
So, but I have to smoke. I mean, I smoke more than most people would that are home all day, just from the time I get home at 4 o'clock until I go to bed at 1. I stop smoking around midnight and go to bed at 2 a.m.
Now, if you don't mind, talk a little bit about the suicide and depression and how that added up to the meth. Like when meth was like readily available, just because something is available doesn't mean like it works, but it seemed like for a time period, especially when I talk to different addicts, there is a time period where it does work for a little bit, and then until you start to realize it's not working, and
then you have to do more.
Yeah, more. Exactly. So talk about like your lifestyle and your mental state, because you said that you deal with autism. Like you were formally diagnosed with that too.
No.
So
no, it's my wife has diagnosed me with that because of our autistic son and multiple tests I've taken online that show that I am on the spectrum, but I've never been tested because my mother doesn't believe I am autistic.
But the bipolar and depression.
I've been diagnosed for depression and anxiety. The doctor would not diagnose me, the last one I had, because I stopped going to doctors about 11 years ago, right before I met Cece. About mental health, because down here they think that mental health, they don't really consider it in the state we're in, at least in the area we're in. I would have to travel an hour or more away to get a good doctor
That's
for mental
harsh.
health.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our son, the autistic one. He would have to go every 3 months to his doctor an hour and a half away because none of the doctors here, all they do is throw pills at you and tell you that you don't have what, when you go in and say, hey, I believe I have this. Can I get tested? Oh, no, you don't have that. You don't have the signs and symptoms. Have you had depression for 5 or more days? I'm like, yeah, I'm depressed every day. What if you had fits of mania where you're high and happy? And yeah, I run through bipolar. There was a diagnosis. It was a fairly new one, and I did the research. I can't remember what it's called now because it's been a long time since I read up on it. But it is a fast onset bipolar. I think that's what it's called. It's a rapid onset where you can have the symptoms of mania and depression in the same day and still be bipolar. And I have that. There'll be times
per day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. And that's really hard to do.
But she would not accept that.
Especially process that. Yeah, exactly. And then also too, I've heard where we were talking about another conversation where they, it got to the point where they would go to the doctor and it's like, oh, is there anything new you'd want to try? And it's like, what do you mean? This isn't like a buffet. You should be trying to get me off the medicines. Why would you be offering me new medicines? And young Jester, no, I have never smoked meth before. The drugs that I've done are mostly psychedelics, research chemicals like 2CI, 2CE, mescaline, DMT, peyote, mushrooms.
Have you ever taken Adderall?
Yeah, well, no. So I didn't take Adderall. I was on Concerta, Vyvanse, and Ritalin prescribed because I have ADHD, and I was extremely all over the place. And I actually took myself off the medicine because most people would tell me that I was like a zombie. Like I was just like a non-playable character almost,
And that's a lot of the reason why meth would not be appealing to you because it would put you in the same type of mindset.
I did cocaine one time and all my friends are like, this is amazing. And I'm like, this is fucking stupid. I was like, I feel mad. Like this all the time. Like I need something that's why I like weed because weed's like, it relaxes you. Because like probably like you, my mind moves 1,000,000 miles a minute. Even when I'm talking to you right now, I'm still thinking about like 20 other 1,000 things going on.
I'm doing that and doing 2 other things.
Exactly. See? Yeah. So I like downers, like chill things. Now I don't like alcohol because alcohol I don't get
like losing control
on. Yeah, well, I don't lose control. I just get sad. I'll either want to laugh or cry. You know what I mean?
Alcoholism runs rampant on both sides of my families. So I am an alcoholic just waiting for a bottle to open. That's why I don't drink.
Yeah.
Because I know I have addiction on both sides of my family. My mother's an alcoholic and undiagnosed, not getting any help, alcoholic. She's getting better because she's getting older, but she used to drink a 20-pack of Bud Light every night.
God damn.
Between the hours of 5 and 9. Yeah. Bottles too. Those were bottles.
Weight. That's all water. I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah. No, I know. Yeah. No, she gained a lot of weight back then, actually.
Yeah. And when he drinks, it honestly, I can't afford for him to drink because it just doesn't stop.
So you're gonna have a distillery too, huh?
Yeah.
No, I don't like to drink.
No. Yeah, and he and I are complete opposites on the side because I'm ADD. They don't diagnose it anymore, but I have the attention issues. As you'll see, my eyes kind of wander from here to there I squirrel a lot, but I am not hyperactive at all. So he likes the stuff that slows him down, whereas I like the mushrooms and the stuff that brings me up, which is part of my issue, I think, a lot with smoking cannabis is that it slows me down to the point where my body can't take it, and it does not like it.
Slow you down too. Don't lie.
They do, but to a different effect. It makes my brain and everything go, whereas it normally doesn't.
You lose track of
It
time though
moves,
lately.
but I do. I definitely lose track of time on mushrooms. 5 minutes feels like 45 minutes, but it also feels like 2 seconds. It's
funny.
really weird for me, but I do enjoy it. Um, so, but
So-
and he and I are completely different in that aspect.
So with that being said, talk a little bit about the suicide aspect. Now, have you ever tried to commit suicide yourself?
A couple times.
And what was that like?
I don't know. I really don't like talking about it that much, honestly.
It's okay. This is
I deal with
safe
it on a
space.
daily basis.
Yeah.
No, I know. I deal with
Yeah.
it daily because there's days I just want to run the car off the road, like just every day.
Yeah. And
So
there have been
while
a
I'm at
couple
work, while I'm
times
sober, and I'm just
there have been a
stressed out
couple
about
times
work
in
and things.
our relationship where it was he had to end up leaving a job because it was if you don't let me quit, I'm literally going to drive the van off the bridge. And I'm like, go quit. We can't do this. So
I actually work with them again, though, but
yeah, he works with them, not for them.
Yeah.
Big difference.
and there's a big difference because I control what I do.
Well,
They don't control what I do.
Yeah. So my point of this is,
I mean,
when you're in those situations, could you describe kind of like what the buildup is? Like, I'll give you an example. For instance, I can lose my cool really quick, and I can get very irritable very quickly, especially when I don't smoke. And sometimes, like we'll be on a walk, and for whatever reason, like I'll get like kind of like you, maybe like a mood shift, right? And become very, very irritable, and everything is just closing in on me, and I feel like all these thoughts, and I feel like the world's kind of getting smaller, and I just feel like a lot of pressure. And then I try to like put myself in a place where it's like, okay, well, I need to decompress. So is it in a place where you get to a point where you just everything's just closing in on you? Like, how do you express or describe that that anxiety that would make you want to drive a van off the bridge, if you would?
well, yeah, it's feeling like I'm not doing anything right. Like I'm always being judged. Is when I felt the worst about them. Like the most recent times is when I felt like I was just being taken advantage of.
Yeah,
is how I felt. I mean,
angry.
And it was more of it was no matter what I did, it was never good enough for them. And no matter what I did, and it was the same feelings I had when I was with my ex, and it was the same place, that I worked. My company made me feel the same way. It was every day I was stressing about going in there to find out what are they going to fuss at me about today? What are they going to yell about? What are they going to complain about? What do they always do? What are they going to say today? What did I do yesterday that some old white person here in where we live got mad because I talked to black people? I mean, that's how stupid it was where I worked. And it was just so stressful that they would call me every time. If I did 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, they'd call me. But they let one dude do 90 down the interstate and not say a word to him. If I left early, they fuss at me about leaving. It was just every day was just down. It just kept bringing me down. And I was there for 4 or 5 years each time I went there because I worked there, quit, and then left. But then, like with my ex, I had the same feelings. It was like I was never good enough. Never good enough. And I had the belt around my neck, and I was putting it on the banisters of our stairs in our house in Missouri. And I had to stop and think, and I got my wits about me before I fully did it and said, do you really want your daughters to find you like this? And I didn't. I didn't want my kids to find me.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of it came with that aspect, and when he would deal with that at work. And then he would come home, and then even when he was with me, and then he was struggling we were trying to pay our bills, and we were trying to do this, and then, something with the kids would go wrong, and it was just always one thing after another that would just build up, and he would literally explode. And it was either yell and scream at the world, I mean, which he has done outside, just had to get it out, go outside, and he would just like yell at the top of his lungs. Or it would be the complete opposite. He would break down and he'd be like, and it's almost like he just doesn't know what to do with himself. It's just everything builds up into a ball, and it's either explode one direction or the other. So he, at
Either
certain
explode
times,
or implode.
Yeah, it's he
I'm hitting my dab. That's why I'm muting myself.
I
I
think
need to hit a dab too.
Yeah, he always felt like he was getting shafted at work and being taken advantage of, and then he would come home and then there was more stuff on top of it. And then everything just building and building, and then I would try to have a discussion with him, and then we would either disagree or start, picking back and forth, and then he would feel like on top of not being good enough for work and what he was doing at home, then he would feel like he wasn't good enough and struggling. So therefore, it just, everything combined, it's just that topple effect.
And money is a sore subject, a very tender subject with me, because I hate money. If I could live my life, and I say this all the time, at least once a week, if I could live my life, have my house and everything I need to do what I want to do, and still do my job, and not have to deal with money ever again, I would do that. I would go do my repairs that I do, come home, take care of my wife, and I wouldn't have to deal with money. I would be fine, because that stuff makes me so angry. And part of it is because I never really had any, and then when I started making it, my ex spent it on everything for herself, and then complained when I never had enough money for her, as she still does now with her child support from me. So I cannot stand money at all. I just hate it, because it was nothing. All we fought about.
Well, I will tell you that a lot of relationships, including mine, have often fought about money. But this is something my therapist showed me, and I'm going to show you, right? Today in Madman Plan Therapy, we're going to talk about understanding anger. Yeah, and this is really important, because what we were just talking about, that money lies in that insecurity, that helplessness, the sadness, the loneliness, the shame. And a lot of times what we experience, even me, when I yell throughout this house, when I'm angry about stuff or whatever, it's the anger that comes out. But just like in your case, I think you deal a lot with what I deal with, which is kind of like an acceptance thing. See, I was adopted. I was an orphan in Romania, so I was in a crib by myself. I was my parents were from the United States and adopted me, but ever since I've was little, and now not so much, because I've really developed myself and invested in who I am and have built power and value, but have always kind of looked for like a validation, and like you wanting to be like good enough. And for me, when I started to feel like I've become good enough was when I started doing things like this podcast and having conversations like I am now, where I could relate to people, and we could vibe together, and we could feel this power, and we could use this to encourage and educate people, and realize that our weaknesses are not our weaknesses. They're just things that we're not good at yet, and all these things that we feel we can't. It's just the same concept. Like Theodore Roosevelt said, the person that says he can and the person that says he can't are both right. You've got to make the conscious effort each day to say, I am, I will get through this, and this too shall pass type mindset, like whether it's like you get hit with a big bill, or, this happens and then that happens and this happens and that happens. I mean, it happens to all of us, but what we should do is we should focus on, okay, well, this isn't about anger. This is about these feelings that I'm feeling right now because of the situation, because of the shame or the frustration or the fear. And when you think of it logically and you try to, like in business, as business owners, you take that emotion out of it, it's easier to think logical and say, okay, that fucking sucks. It is what it is. It does suck, but I'm not going to sit here and die. I'm going to sit here and say, okay, what can I control? Okay, well, I can do this, this, and this. And because I'm not going to think emotional anymore, I'm not going to think with insecurity. I'm not going to think with helplessness. I'm not going to think with sadness. I'm going to think with abundance. And also, you should read a book called something about money, and it's the positive way to have a relationship with money, because one thing about self-growth and self-development is learning how to use money as a tool and resource. It's not the end all be all, it's a tool and resource, but learning to see money and having a good relationship with it is a value too. That's just my 2 cents. You could tell me to fuck off, I really don't care, but all I'm saying is that, you know, I definitely vibe with you, and I appreciate your transparency, you know, because I myself deal with a lot of that, you know, and it's one of those things too where I've been bombarded, and I'm like, you know, maybe I should
self-sabotage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but my thing is,
And I don't realize it till after I've already done it. A lot of times is my biggest problem. That's one of my biggest problems is when I'm doing really good, I unconsciously will screw it up somehow. Which with the business, I haven't really done that other than I've been missing a lot of phone calls, which is the whole reason she's coming home, because I've been missing enough that I could probably pay her salary twice. Her weekly, what she was making at her job, I could probably pay it twice with just one day of the phone calls I miss.
Yeah.
So,
Which, and I will say he doesn't notice, and he probably doesn't think so, but he has gotten, since the longer we're together, and especially over the last few years, I mean, he has gotten a lot better with not self-sabotaging so much and trying to be a better person and learning to
it's because I have a teammate.
control.
I don't feel like I'm alone.
Yeah, learning to control his anger and his outrage. And I mean, every once in a while, yeah, I mean, all of us, we all get upset. We all get depressed. We all get it. It's especially when you live in a house with, you know, 4 constant neurodivergent people.
yeah.
There's always something. Because and then when our daughter comes over, then there's 5. You know, so we all have something. So there's always a mixture of everything, and learning to navigate that. I mean, it's honestly, it's taken us years to do it.
Yeah.
But our kids are teenagers now, and we can talk to them and not have to skirt around all of that stuff. And that has made it easier. But then trying to get them to, okay, I need you to do this and I need you to do this. But he has worked really, really hard on learning to control his emotions. He may not see it, but he has, and he's done a lot better. And it's us, like he said, being a team, working together. We talk about more now, because when things upset him, he will tell me. And when things upset me, he just knows, because I usually don't have to tell him. So
her face speaks really well for her.
Yeah, it does. And when I get quiet, he knows there's something. So that's usually the cue, is when I just stand there and look at him and I don't answer.
Well, so I will say this: I haven't felt like committing suicide really, like that, like driving the car off the road or anything like that, since I left that company we were talking about. Really, there were a few times I kind of felt the bad. I was getting there with the company I worked at right before I quit. But the biggest reason I was that way with them is because working for a big corporation, I have to take a drug test every 2 years, supposed to at least. Doing what I do, if I do it for big manufacturers. But what was it? I had been almost 2.5 years since the first drug test, and I had been clean for 1.5 years at that point. And they just kept saying, oh, well, we're supposed to do it, we're going to do it, we're not going to do it. I wasn't even set up in the system to be having one done, because I technically didn't work for them as one of their servicers for that company, that manufacturer. So I'd been stressing for months, when's this drug test going to show up? Because it took me almost 1 year to get clean back then. And I smoke a lot more than I did then. So it would take me a lot longer. Because back then I was only smoking about I was going through a half a week, conserving it, smoking 1 hit. out of a dugout because I had to make that $100 last all week.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely tough. Now, let me ask you a question. So, with this being said, I think it's great that as a team you recognize that your wife is a big help. I can say the same thing about Lacey right away. She being with her, having her in my background has definitely given me a power, that I didn't have before. I think most people, when that's why they say, who you choose as a spouse is probably one of the most important decisions that you'll make in your lifetime, because it truly dictates how far you're able to go. Because when you're with somebody that truly believes in you, truly understands you, truly stands by you, you can, you can do anything. And I believe that. And it's very great to have that. But also, it's a great sense to realize that, yes, I do have a teammate, but the change that I'm making, what I'm doing to better my life, is a direct result of me doing this for me. And I think it's important that as much as you love CC and as much as I love Lacey, that any change that we make to better ourselves needs to be for us. Just like when you got clean 20 years ago, it was you wanted a better life. And I think with what you're doing now with cannabis, you can easily do that again and say, I want a better life, and help yourself in these situations. And another thing about that job, I talked about this in my leadership networking class. So I pay a lot of money to be a part of this group, and it has high level thinking people in there. And we meet virtually from all over the United States. And today's leadership course was, how do you know if somebody is a good, a good person to network with? Well, in the same sense of this, is how, oh man, I just lost it. Give me 2 seconds here. Um, oh, is how do you know where your value is? And there's a demonstration that they did. They took a world class violinist and they had him play in the subway for 3 hours, right? And for 3 hours, the violinist played, and people just walked by for hours. 3 hours just walked by. Few people stopped. That was about it. Very next night, the same violinist goes to the opera house and plays in front of 5,000 people who silently watch him for 3 hours. What's the difference? I'll let you guys guess. What's the difference?
Well, the people.
It's location.
And the location.
Location.
A little bit more than location.
He charged the people to come see, and the people that did it for free. I don't know what to say. I've seen the art. I've seen this. The thing you're talking about.
Well, the whole point of it, whether you've seen the video on Instagram or not, is the whole point of it is the value.
Yeah,
the
to know your value
is different. They knew going in that opera house that he was a world-class violinist, so it deserved his attention. When he was in the subway, people didn't recognize his value. They didn't see him as worthy, just like that job. So what you need to do, just like that violinist did, is not play the subways, is play those opera houses. So what I mean by that is when you take that next job, if they don't automatically see the value in you and respect you and give you a reason, as a video production company, we work a lot with businesses, especially testimonials, and we also do employee videos, especially like for hiring videos. One of my clients, who's an air conditioning company, pretty big here in Washington, D.C., we had to do a day in the life of a tech where we took one of their head techs and we had about 90 minutes, or actually 30 minutes with him to get his testimonial before he had to go out. And in the video, which I'll send to you guys privately, is he's talking about how when people perceive his job, they think of it as like a dirty job. But really what it is he's a problem solver. and he's out there solving problems for people and helping people get back to their normal life. And because the value of the company is so high that not asking him to work the weekends, giving him good benefits, a nice vehicle to drive, good clients, good projects, a safe place, having the right tools, by the company investing in the technician then could invest better in the customer. And then that made the customer win, all because the company valued their employee. Same with you, is how could you expect to do a good job? And I would feel the same way, just like you. I'm going to fuck up every day because these guys already hate me. These guys are already, I'm never going to be good enough because in their eyes, I'm not good enough. So what I need to do is not realize that this is an internal issue and say, oh man, I need to go drive my car off the road. What I need to say is I need to get in my car and drive to fucking another employment or start, like with the way you guys have your own company and just be like, fuck it, I want to do it myself because I know I value myself, and then you think about, well, CC values me, my family values me. And then you start to think about. I will
tell you this.
Yeah.
She was the one that held me back from doing all of that.
Good.
From starting my own company.
The company.
Oh,
and quitting my job.
Bad, CC. Get in the corner.
She was the one that kept me. She was the one that kept me working because I had to pay our bills. Because I was making twice as much money as she was at the time. But I was miserable. I made more money there than I have any time I've worked. But I was miserable every day. And I even talked to the owner one day. I was in his office crying like, man, I don't know what to do about this manager. She is on me every day. Everything I do, she's on me. She's on me. She's on me. He's like, you make good money, don't you? And right then I said, all right, man, you're fitting your stereotype. He's a Jewish guy, and I'm not racist or anti-Semitic or anything, but he's fitting that stereotype. And I'm like, guy, I'm in here crying. I'm a grown man crying in your office saying, I need help. I'm at my wit's end. And you're like, well, you make good money, right? So I just walked out of his office, went and made money until I could start my own company. Because that's how bad it was there. That's what I dealt with on a daily basis. That's where I was at the end, where I was just like, I can't even get help from the owner. So and I know they knew my worth. I was bringing in $10,000 a month to them every month. And I was working 3 or 4 days a week because I was getting sick from the stress.
Yeah.
And still bringing in 10 grand a month. More than most of their other technicians. Not to brag about myself, but that's my worth. I know what I can make easily for a company that is running their company in the ground. But I always worked for them. When I was at work for them, I worked the same way I do as my own company because that's why I'm not on camera right now, because my face is my sign. Every customer that knows me, that has known me for the last 12 years that I've lived here, that's why my face is on my business cards. Is so that if they see my business card, they see me. They may not recognize my name, but they'll recognize my face. So they'll see me and say, oh, hey, I know that guy. Let me get his number so I can call him. That's how I get most of my business. Yeah, because I've made a clientele for myself by being the way I am. I don't care what that company's doing. They're stressing me out while I'm driving around, and that's when I would get the most depressed. When I was in a customer's home, I treated it just like I own the company. And that's how I've always worked, but that's the way I am. I present myself as who I am every time I see someone, because that's what I can say. It's hard to say. I carry myself a certain way around people.
Yeah, no, you should. I mean, also too is I have the opinion is why should I change my reality to make you feel comfortable in yours?
Right.
And if people like, for instance, I was really nervous because we work with a lot of big companies and organizations, and I was worried about connecting Good Luck Stuff and Madman Plant together. But ever since I did, half my clients think it's really cool, and then when they find out it's all about mental health and all the clarity, I have actually a lot of my customers, and I would get text message. They'd be like, "Hey, that was a really cool episode last night." I got one from the people I did a testimonial video for of their pool for a construction company. and they're like, "Hey, that was an awesome video, dude." And I was like, it's just interesting. But I think the bigger thing is, it's one of those things where you have to make that decision yourself. That's a decision that you need to make as a business owner. It can affect you both ways. For me, I need cannabis, like you do, to help me regulate my attitude and, just, help soothe me. And it just, honestly, I feel like it makes me more me. Sometimes I feel like less shy, less timid. Sometimes, as much as I can talk on camera, I can still be, kind of withdrawn or reserved sometimes, so with me, I think it definitely helps as a buffer. Does it work for everybody on an ongoing basis? No, but I think
No,
that's
but for
the big
me,
part of it.
I'm the same way. I need it like that. I mean, I got a little. I need to smoke some more. Actually, I'm not in a lot of pain right at the moment, but I'm still pressing. But yeah, it's the same for me. I have to have it, or I'm not. And I think that's a big reason why I'm not having the same thoughts I was having before. Also, is because I am using more cannabis on a daily basis to help me. Because the amounts I could afford when I had to buy it was not. It was just enough to help me maintain when I was medicated. So now I have enough in my system that I can be a little more mellow during the day for those 4 to 6 hours I work, because I medicate so much before I go to sleep. And then
Yeah.
I wake up still feeling it, but it's enough to get me through most of my day. So I can get through my jobs while I still feel medicated, but I'm not actually medicated at that moment. If that makes sense.
No,
I'm
it
not
does.
using it right then. But I try to, it's almost like carb loading before I go to sleep, because I only sleep 4 hours. I really take a nap. And then I'm up going again the next day.
Yeah.
But I try to do that, and that's helped a lot, because before, when you're smoking a half a week, and I smoke a half in like 3 joints nowadays, a half ounce, and I was smoking a half ounce a week back then, if not a quarter a week, because I just didn't have the money, because I was paying the bills, working for people, and you got to pay for it, and I didn't like paying for the stuff I was getting. I was paying $100 a half for cannabis here that I don't even know if it's really cannabis or if it was hemp with some spray on it. Last I knew,
that's probably not good.
it was so. I mean, the last couple times I bought any here, it was so bad that I gave some to Cece's cousin, and she threw it away.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
And they're hard up. They're hard up.
Yeah.
She was going to break my pipe and scrape it, but she threw away that weed.
How do you decide the type of strains that you're going to grow for your hubby?
Well, some of it I grow just because I want to, and I like the look of it, and I want to see what it does. But for the most part, when we're looking at stuff, we look at the effects and what it does. Now, ultimately, no matter what it says, it may have a different effect for him than it does for everybody else. Because, I mean, we know those are overall general effects for most people. Like the majority of, if you have 10 testers, they're saying it has these effects. And then you just kind of take them all, for the most part, from what I understand, they take them all and go, okay, most often it does this, this, and this. So, but we look for certain things for him as far as just how the different effects are. Is it going to be happy and uplifting? Is it going to be more of a head high? Is it going to be more of a body high? Because we grow a little bit of both. And a lot of the times we mix a cocktail when it comes to what he's actually going to smoke or press or anything like that. It just depends on how he's feeling that day. So we grow a little bit of everything. That's why you'll see me with so many different strains at one time. It's not the same thing in the tent at all times. We're not going to grow 5 or 6 of the same thing at one time.
Now, Mr. CC, with that, is there anything that CC, I don't know, like Mr. and Mrs. Anything that she's grown that's really stood out to you, like that one thing that you wish you could grow again? Oh, you're laughing, so this
Yes.
must be good.
Actually, there's one strain that I wish we could get again, and it was in our owl pellets that we got from Night Owl, because it presses so perfectly in our conditions. It comes out this light, buttery, like a paste almost.
Oh, nice.
Every time we
Yeah.
press it, it's so frosty. But since it's an owl pellet, you don't know what it is because it's just random seeds,
Like
pretty
mystery
much.
Yeah.
beans. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the one I wish we could get. We get mostly, if I find something I like, she normally buys the seeds. Sorry, I'm trying not to cough because I was hitting the dabs.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna do now. I've been polite, but now I'm gonna hit mine.
Yeah, no need to be polite.
No need to be polite around here at
Well,
all.
when I have somebody going in deep about their darkest moments and stuff, I don't want to be like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Hey,
Say what?
it won't bother me.
Something about
Hey,
driving
man.
a car off the bridge. It's like, oh man,
Hey.
it's tragic.
You know what? It wouldn't really bother me, honestly, because I would do that. I would sit there and be like, I'm sorry, I'm doing a dab so I can pay attention to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because if not, I'd be thinking about the press and the dogs that are going outside barking. Because that's the other reason I have to keep muting the phone, because I'm in the kitchen. So I would be able to concentrate on what you're saying if I was dabbing.
That's hilarious. I just be like, oh yeah, I'm about to drive my car off the road. Oh shit, my dab fell on the ground. Oh damn it, sorry, dude. Hold on for a second.
I'm the kind of guy that would laugh at that. I'm the kind of guy that would laugh at that and not mean to. I would feel bad, but then I would laugh, especially if I was sober. I would laugh, and I'm like, and that's one of her son does the same thing because he's autistic, and that's one of the reasons we need to get me tested so that we can find out if I am or not.
Well, you might want to be
He is.
careful.
It's fine.
You might want to be careful because my son cannot get life insurance because he has autism.
Yeah.
So
life insurance
be careful about that.
Yeah, no, you're not getting diagnosed. We need life insurance for you. Because
Yeah.
I need to be able to pay off the house.
Just look into that real quick. I'm just saying. My son cannot get life insurance.
Only if it helps me get a disability diagnosis am I going to use it. Or try to get tested. So, not anytime soon, dear.
E-dab or glass dab? We're going to go with glass.
Go with glass. Hit one for me, guys.
I know.
I need to load mine, actually, while he's doing that.
But actually, I am growing currently some CBD for me.
Okay.
So, to help with my autoimmune issues, I'm actually going to be making me some gummies when it's done. So I'm hoping that'll help me. I'm not going to actually smoke it, but I'll make me some gummies.
But while we're on the subject of mental health, is there anything that you've gone through in your lifetime that we could share or talk about that you think maybe in the future CBD is going to help? Because I think it's great that Mr. CC shared, and I'm sure you have a really great story too.
Well, I am not. I will tell you, I am the type of person with especially in the last 4 years, have had major changes in my mental health. And I unfortunately have learned to compartmentalize very, very well. I take everything and put it in a box, and I swallow that little box, and it gets shoved way down, and it stays there until it pretty much forces its way back up for a minute or two, and then it gets shoved right back down. I am not good at expressing my emotions and feelings, especially when it comes to tragedy and stuff that has happened. Both of my parents passed away.
Right? Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, and I have, my dad passed away 4 years ago. My mother passed away 3 years ago. And it was like as soon as my dad passed away, a little switch in me just flipped and said, okay, now you've got to do this and you've got to do this and you have to be able to take care of your family and you
Yeah.
have to take care of your mother and you have to be able to manage this and have a full-time job and help with the family. And I can tell you I failed miserably at all of it, just about. But my stories and tragedies, I will tell you, it's probably more along the lines of everybody else's. It's learning to deal with life without my father, taking care of my mother when she was sick, trying to still have a job and raise a family, live in, at one point with my two children, being a single parent out of a loveless marriage on his end. Um, Learning, it's always been a fight and always having to be the strong one. It is my downfalls because I don't deal with things. And I'm still struggling to do that now. So I don't, anytime I think of anything to deal with my parents or emotions, it'll just all boil over. So,
Well, there's one of those times where you can let it out or it'll get it out, type deal. I think one of the
yeah,
biggest things is it sounds like you definitely carry a lot of burden, a lot of weight,
yes.
and I think at that point, at some time, you got to let some of that go. And I know it's difficult. And when good portion of my time, right before I met Lacey, I was dating this girl named Lindsay who left me on the side of the road in Arizona, which is why I have this tattoo of a feather with 13 feathers, which is represents the 13 hours from getting back from Arizona to Virginia. But the point was, through that, there was a lot of weight and sadness and emotion going on. But the way I dealt with it was I invested that hurt, that anger and everything into my business, which provided, a really nice life for me today. So what I would suggest doing is trying to find a way where you can let that out. Because think about it, it's like toxin in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said, oh man, what was the quote? Because the guys, the rebuttal is, how much poison do you need to eat for it to kill you? And somebody was like, can't remember the first part, but it's the same type of thing. It's how much toxicity are you going to take before something bad happens? And I think one thing, like with you and your husband, you guys seem to share a little bit of the same type of trauma, the whole being good enough and a lot of weight, a lot of burden, a lot of other things. And, it's not a bad thing. It's just something that you're not that person anymore. You're not in that moment anymore. You're Cece, you're here with me, you're a grower, you're so much more than you were. And if you
Mm-hmm.
start to realize the value, I think some of that will naturally dissolve, which goes back to my pyramid of anger, which falls under the insecurity and the sadness and the loneliness and the fear and the guilt. And I'm sure it's a lot, and especially when you tie family and all of that, having to grow up fast, so just remember you're a beautiful person and that you have so much value in you. And like I tell Lacey all the time, because she has a lot of trauma from her mom, especially because when she grew up, she was the parent. Essentially, her mom was just not there. She was, but it's a long story. But focusing on you, is like I tell her, is like, you're not that little 13-year-old girl that was yelled at, that couldn't fight back and had to live in filth. You're 30 years old in your own home, which is clean. you don't have to deal with that. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like The Ring. Remember where they're trying to get the girl out of the well to save her soul? You got to save Cece's soul. You got to let it out, Cece.
I know. I'm trying. I'm working on it, and trust me, he is too. He's been.
You're doing great. I love it.
Yeah, he has been there, and he tells me, he fusses at me all the time. That it just let it out, just let it go, just let it out, and it's just.
I'm
it's
the
the way
emotional
that
one in the relationship.
Me
Yeah,
too.
he is. He
I
is.
cry
He's
so much.
yeah.
Me too.
He's the emotional one. Honestly, it's with the two of us. I'm more of other than physical, I'm more of the man in a lot of that, and he's more of the female aspect for the emotional and the he's the cuddler and the sweetness and the sit next to me and hold hands, and I've just I'm doing it more as the older we get, because he's bringing more of that out in me. And the longer we've been together, the more affectionate at least I think I've become. And that has only
Yes.
helped our relationship as well. So,
That's awesome.
Yes.
yeah. So I'm trying. It's a long process, and I know I'm always a work in progress. And I have known for many years I've needed to actually probably get with just a psychologist and talk. I just haven't done it. Between life, kids, trying to do stuff, and it's not really an excuse because I should make the time for myself. But I a lot of the times just talk to him, and then most of the time I just don't talk about it. I'll do it another day, and
Well,
I
you
move
have to
on.
remember, tomorrow never comes. That's a song.
Yeah.
Well, see, she and her younger son have this ability to go to sleep and reset.
That's
Yes,
a great ability.
I have a reset
Tomorrow's
I wish
always
I
a new
could.
day. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't hold grudges that long. I mean, they might hold it for a couple days, but not like other people that hold on to it for years and years and decades. They go to sleep.
And we wake
I
up
wish
the
I
next
could do
day
that.
like nothing happened.
Well, one thing my
It's
mom always told me was tomorrow's a new day. No matter how much trouble I got in or how much I pissed them off, tomorrow is always a new day. And I think you embrace that philosophy. Would you say that's true?
yeah. I've become, as I've gotten older, I've embraced that, things, it is what it is. I can either learn to accept it and move on, or I could dwell in it. Most of the time there's nothing I can change about it except how I react to it.
Yes.
And the problem I have with that situation is I usually just kind of push it off and I don't ever deal with it. And I'm learning how to work that aspect of it. And if somebody really makes me mad or does something, if I get really mad at work or I see somebody out in public and they make me mad or do something, I go home, I go to bed, and the next morning I'm over it. And it's just because with certain things in life I've had to learn, especially working in an office like I was, that as soon as I walked out of that door, everything that was there stayed there.
Yes.
I had to learn to not bring that stuff home. We would talk about it and he'd be like, "Oh, well, how was you?" Because my son's favorite thing is, how was work today, Mom? Or how are you doing? Have you had a good day? And my answer was, it was work. It is what it is. So, but I've had to learn to separate everything. But I think I've gotten so good at separating and, like I said, boxing everything up that it's becoming more of a hindrance now than it is helping. because I just learned to deal with everything that way and just not deal with it.
Yeah. It's just, building the wall and not realizing that, it's getting cracks, and those cracks are eventually going to, come barreling at you.
Oh yeah, I know. And it doesn't help me. And it doesn't, because one of the biggest things with an autoimmune disease is stressors. Anything that stresses you out or upsets the balance of your own body. And that it doesn't help me. So when I get overstressed or really concerned or really super upset, it throws my body for a loop. And I think that's another reason over the last several years that I've just learned to just not to have to deal with things. If I just let it go, I just don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Elsa that shit?
What was that?
I said Elsa that shit? Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I say all the time. Is let it go. I always say I just Elsa that shit and get over it. So, but you can do that a little too much, unfortunately.
No, I definitely agree with that. Root Nerds over here says, "Madman will get you to cry on camera eventually." There'll be a time and place, just won't be tonight. No, I've often thought about that. It'll probably be in about when honey is 28 years old in human years, and we have to say goodbye. That'll definitely be a time.
Yeah.
But
see, if you don't do it on camera, nobody will know.
Oh, like your husband said, just hang around me enough. I'm an emotional person.
Yeah.
Are you guys a Pisces, Mr. CC?
Capricorn.
Nope, I'm a Pisces. What are you, CC?
Scorpio.
All right, I'm gonna call you MC and CC. So Mr. CC. So saying Mr. CC is just like
you can just say Carl.
C-cells.
You just call him Carl.
Carl.
Yeah. Yep. That's what the CC and his thing is, connoisseur Carl. So you just call him Carl.
There you go, Carl. There you go. So, CC, talk about one of the most rewarding things about growing.
Honestly, the most rewarding thing is it makes my relationship better.
Okay. Talk about that.
Well, because I love you too. Because it helps him so much. And with helping him, making him feel better, keeping him more relaxed and feeling good is, mental health is just, and physical health is just as important to me in a relationship as just, it goes hand in hand with loving somebody. So making him feel good, this is the best way that I know how to do it. So on a day-to-day basis, that's the most important thing. Other than that, like anybody else, once you start growing, you realize that it's just kind of a quiet time. It's kind of a therapy. It's almost like having children. You've made this beautiful thing. Now you can continue to watch it grow, and you've done something good, and it will continue to help somebody. So whether it's going to, of course, Mr. CC or, other people, if it's going to help multiple people, because, I'll be honest, other than mentally, it doesn't help me except with him. But it's the concept that I've never been able to grow anything. I've killed everything. I killed succulents.
That's funny.
Believe it or not, everybody's like, "Oh, you must be a great grower. You must love houseplants." I've killed everything. And it was just strange.
Except for the ones in our bathroom that we just water like once a month. Those are the ones she's kept alive.
Yeah, I got those I got 3 houseplants after my mother passed away. And one of them was her favorite type of houseplant. And those I've had struggles with them and the brown leaves and other issues, but as long as I remember to water them, they live. I specifically bought plants that it's hard for me to kill. But yet I killed succulents. I don't know what that was.
Bad CC.
I know. I was a horrible plant parent. That's why I didn't own plants. Everything I had was fake. If
funny.
I even had a plant. But it's watching something grow to know that you can, I believe now that even if it wasn't cannabis, if I put something in the ground, knowing what I'm doing and knowing that I can actually bring something to life is an awesome feeling.
Yeah, I would say so.
That's why each one of these plants, they're like my babies. I call them, these are my babies. This is my, because you are. I mean, without me or him, that they would just shrivel up and die.
Yeah.
We named the first 5 or 6 plants we grew.
Yeah, we named them. And every once in a while, we still call them something. I mean, right now, I haven't named them other than what they're called. But yeah, we were naming them. So it was like, these are my babies.
I don't think we've ever named them, but we've had kind of decorated them and built some hype around them and
Well, it was only so we could keep. It was so we could keep track which one was which without saying what they were when we were out in public.
Oh yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah,
I think it's
They were like nicknames.
Yeah,
we had one that was grown in cocoa. It was a GMO, and I called it Kokomo. Cocoa and Cocoa and the Mo. We had one. The very first one we grew, I called it B. It was GMO, like BMO from Adventure Time.
Mm-hmm.
Just so that we could keep track of which one was which, especially when we were harvesting, because like Kokomo was the first one we grew in cocoa, and she was the frostiest, and that's why we decided to grow in cocoa and not HP Pro Mix or soil or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because she came out the frostiest because we grew like 3 or 4 of them, wasn't it, dear?
Yes.
Yeah, 4 of the GMOs. And she was the frostiest of all of them, so that's why we're like, well, okay.
Yeah, that was one of our experiments. Is like, okay, let's try soil, let's try Pro Mix, let's try cocoa, and then let's mix the cocoa and the Pro Mix, and let's see what it does.
Yeah.
So that was early, very, very early in the grow when we were learning what we were doing and what we liked, and just to try all the mediums and see. The only thing we haven't done is DWC. So we're just trying to see what we liked best and what worked best for us and with our nutrients and all of that. So, but yeah, it just makes it easier. Yeah, and our schedule. I mean, it makes it easier when we talk about them. As to we were naming it was, we don't do it as much anymore because, I mean, right now there's just a bunch.
Yeah, well, it does sound like a lot. Now, what I'm going to do, last 20 minutes of the show, I would like to open it up to you guys. I'm going to try to give you guys 10 minutes each. CC, since you are my guest, and ladies first, we are going to go with you. This segment is designed for anything that we didn't talk about, anything that you wanted to bring up, anything that you wanted to discuss. So 10 minutes is for you, and then do 10 minutes for MC or Carl.
Gosh, I don't really know of a whole lot that we didn't bring up.
You have a YouTube channel? Did you talk about that?
Oh, that's a great idea. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? Yeah.
Plug yourself here. You got 10 minutes. It's a 10-minute free commercial. Come on.
Elevator pitch. Let's go.
All right. So I'm on the clock, guys. Okay. So
you can take all 20. I don't have 10 minutes to say anything.
Yeah, we did, and we started a YouTube channel, and just like we've talked about, and I was just referring to, we do a lot of different experiments, and we do a lot of different things, and one of the things is a lot of people have asked questions about what we do and how we do it. And I have a very big philosophy of keep it simple, stoner.
Yeah.
And I don't like a lot of work. I put very little effort into, I play with my ladies, mess with my plants, defoliate, do everything I should do. But I don't want to make a job out of it. I don't want to mix 10 to 15 different things and top dress with this and do that. And it
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, I work smarter, not harder. Less is more for me. So with people asking what we do as far as how do I grow almost 5-foot autos, we decided to put out a YouTube channel. So as my buddy Macho in the chat wanted to know the how to grow CC style. So we put out the grow book is going to be on YouTube. So just my little how-to videos, the different things we do, if I do a test, what we're running, weekly updates, stuff like that. And that's under my page, which is CC420. You can see a few videos. We started it under Mr. CC420. But then we ended up moving it over to, CC's Auto School. Then we ended up moving it over to my YouTube channel since I have more interaction on social media. So, but if
I'd rather be in the background anyway.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, yeah, he's my maker. He made me like a DIY aero mixer kind of, or nutrient mixer. And he's actually made
stop using that trademark name.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like one. He, and is constantly improving things and making things easier for me. So, and it's just like on the days that, we talk about being a team, on the days that I don't feel good, or if I'm hurting and don't want to, get down and water the ladies, he does. So,
teamwork.
But yes, makes the dream work.
Amen.
So, but we do, and we build things together and we do things together, and he's always getting my setups done and moving things around in the tent for me, and just making life in general easier, making the grow easier. So it was easier for me to do all of the other stuff too. And I have never had, like I've said before, a place where I felt comfortable with other people. And even though I don't smoke, I actually am very well relatable to other people. And it's a community of growers too. So it's not just as, the quote unquote stoners getting together. I don't like people putting that stigma on it.
Yes.
So it's, because I tell you what, there definitely is what they call stoner ingenuity. I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff, but I've seen a lot of crazy stuff that works. And they will, people who do smoke, a lot of them do it not necessarily for recreation. So they do it, like we've said all night, for mental and physical health. And it helps people. It is not a bad thing.
No.
And so with us doing this, I want to help people to learn different ways to grow and different ways to do things. So with what we make, and I know I'm rambling, sorry, I'm going all over the place. My ADD at the moment is just kicking me from one direction to the other.
You're doing a great job.
We really wanted to try to see if we could help people and learn. So as we learn, I try to put videos out, and I'm going to get, now that I'll be home a little bit more, get better and better about, like my buddy Macho doing some weekly updates and helping people and growing the community.
Computer also.
Yeah, he's got to build me a computer. Um,
A nice computer.
yeah, yeah. So, um, but I like the idea of like-minded people getting together and coming together over a particular subject. And sometimes when a bunch of us talk, it's not even about the plant. It's just relating to one another on one subject and then goes off and branches out into life. And that's the important stuff for me. It's so with talking to people in the community and getting better acquainted with people. And don't get me wrong, I love talking about plants. I love
Mhm.
talking about this and learning. And we want to start eventually. I have a whole class thing that I can do on cloning and learn how to do that and learn how to breed and learn anything and everything I can because, as people with ADD and ADHD, when we want to learn things, we tend to go down the rabbit hole. So we overlearn, and as I call it in my own brain. Um, so if I want to know anything about a subject, I just say it to him, and then he dives right into it. And then he's like, "Oh, well, have you seen this article?" And so those mornings when he's up till 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, he's looking up stuff. And oh, hey, I sent you this? Did you read it? Did you see it? Da da da. And I'm like, no, I was asleep, but I'll look at it now.
Duh. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's because he'll send it to me, and then I go to work, and then I come home, and he'll be like, "We want to talk about it because we're excited," or he's excited about it. He's like, "Did you see it?" And I'm like, "No, I was at work. I was asleep. I was, you know."
You had all
So
day to look at your phone, but you were on Discord or Instagram half the day. So
well, I have to talk to my friends too.
Yeah, we're
yeah, but I'm your husband.
So, but I mean, it is anything we enjoy growing. We enjoy talking to one another. We enjoy plant. We enjoy. I mean,
We just like being
it's life.
together.
Yeah,
yes.
we do. Anytime we go somewhere, we're together.
Yep. Very rarely are me and Lacey separated.
Hmm.
Except for like when she goes to like appointments or the gym, you know. But just like you
Oh no,
guys.
we see the same doctor at the same time.
Same here. We'll
Yeah.
go to the same appointments, we'll same
Yep.
dentist, same time. We'll be in the two chairs or two rooms next to each other.
Yeah.
So we share that alike, and just like with you guys, we have no secrets. Lacey runs the whole other side of my business as far as helping me shoot, to edit, to admin. Usually, if you're having a conversation through email, it's most likely Lacey responding. Little tidbit there, but no, I think that is beautiful. And when you can find a bond like that, that is something that's priceless. And I really hope you guys spend a lifetime together because it's important, especially when you know that you can trust, you can rely on someone, somebody's got your back. That way, when you handle the hard things, and they do get hard, it's sometimes, business is not pretty. We've had some very dark times and even, still can, business, you're never in the safe. It's like always traversing rough seas. Some days you have good days, some days you get the shit kicked out of you. But I think when you have somebody to turn to, especially like that, it makes a world of difference, especially when you have to go through some of those dark times.
Yes. Yeah, and we do really well at that, and that
Hmm.
is one thing I'm thankful for, is because it's not, life itself is not all fun and games, and
No.
adulting sucks, and
Yeah.
but when you have that partner, it does make it worth it, and that that is one of the things that I can say that we do very well, is being together and helping one another.
Yeah, you guys
And
are awesome. I mean,
thank you.
it's just amazing to see you guys through. And Mr. I don't know what
It's
to.
fine.
I
I
honestly
got you.
don't even know what to call you. I'm
Hey
just
you,
gonna.
Mister. Just say Mister.
Yeah.
That's
So
fine. I got
see,
it.
that's part of my ADHD. You know, I just can't.
You're
I
good.
can't just pick something. But no, I
Most
just
unless you know my first name, most people can't. They can't say my name anyway, so it's fine.
no. But what I want to say to you is, you know, you should definitely appreciate the courage that you do have, and I'm really glad that you've never made any of those poor decisions because not only do you lose, but so does everybody else. And
Right.
Mhm.
you know, as your friend, if you ever have a hard day, you feel free to reach out. Sometimes as much as you love your spouse, sometimes it's good to just, hear it from other people or whatever.
Right.
But I just want to say that, I think you should see a lot of value in yourself and the self validation and the feeling good enough. You should feel that, and that's represented between you and Cece. You're good enough for her, so you should. If you're good enough for her, you should be good enough for the rest of the world. Is my point, and that's where I get kind
Right.
of with me and Lacey. So always use that as a benchmark whenever you're going through tough times. Of okay, this sucks, but you know what? Even if I just quit right now, I can still go home and still get the love and the appreciation and the attention I need so I can make a better decision so I can have a brighter tomorrow. And I think that's really awesome that you guys had that set up. So kudos to you guys.
Oh yeah, the best part of my
Yeah.
day is when I see her face.
Mhm.
Oh man.
For
Now
real.
see,
Yep.
now I need to see. Now I got a couple that loves each other on the podcast. Now I need to get a Jerry Springer type episode. Total opposite. Then she's gotten me in jail twice now. I'm like, he cost me legal fees. You crashed my car.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
I avoid drama now. My family is like a living Jerry Springer episode. The people I grew up with.
Do they want
I
to
mean,
be on
I
the
grew up
podcast?
around bikers, and some of them they know who that. We know who we are. We're not.
Yeah.
There's no shame in who we are.
That's funny.
We're proud of who we are. I am who I am, and I came from where I came from. We're all proud of it. There's no shame in it. We are. I made it where I'm at right now, despite of where I was raised,
Yep.
how I
Yeah.
was raised. So they know it. We all know it. My parents have the one person that would watch this. She's gotten clean, and she's my stepmom. She'd be the only person I know of that would even watch this,
That's
and she
funny.
knows where I'm at in my life. Well, I'll take the last 6 minutes here,
Go
five
for
and a
it.
half or whatever.
Go ahead. Yeah.
My stepmom is actually my aunt by marriage. My dad married his brother's ex-wife, so she's been in my life my
Oh.
whole life, like since I was a baby, and I
Yeah.
was her favorite as a child, always. She'll tell everyone that still to this day. I'm 42 years old, and she'll
Mhm.
still tell everyone Adam's my favorite.
Yep.
She did at my wedding a couple times, I
Yep.
think, didn't she?
She did. Yes, she did.
Because we traveled 16 hours away to get married just so that she could be there, really, more than anyone. But my dad and my mom were there, and all of my brothers, even my sister came, and it was like a Jerry Springer episode. We're trying to smoke weed by the car, and they're all drunk inside the building being mean to me because I'm trying to get stoned because they're all pissing me off.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
But I
Yeah.
don't remember where I was going now with that. Talking about my aunt Terry. I miss her.
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the interesting thing is between the two of us is I grew up on the complete opposite side of the spectrum. So you never that with
Yeah,
the
she
two of
grew
us,
up in a
we
big
are
house
the
with a pool in the suburbs.
yeah. It was well, it didn't have a pool, but
Oh, well,
my
I thought it did
parents.
it once.
Yeah, my parents actually, they were not rich by any means, but we always had money. We always had everything we needed. I grew up in a decent house. My parents were high school sweethearts. They both graduated from college. They had good jobs. You know, our families are complete opposites from each other. I grew up never wanting, never needing for anything and getting most things that I ever wanted. All I had to do was,
And
I'm a
anything
daddy's
I
girl.
wanted, I had to pay for anything I wanted after 15.
Yeah, which is quite interesting sometimes when we're having to parent our children and go, well, when I was that age, I used to do this. And I'm like, well, I didn't have to do that. So,
That's fine.
it's
Well, I didn't have to.
yeah. Well, I didn't have to do that. So
Well, and then I think about when the kids complain about not getting a job, and I tell them, I don't want you to get a job now because I wish I would not have had to. I wish I didn't have to get a job at 15. I wish I would have been able to be a teenager. I probably wouldn't have been the loser meth addict that I was when I was, because I would have gotten all of that stupidity out of my brain as a teenager, and not, because I was more like an adult as a 15-year-old than I was a 15-year-old. I was more like a 30-year-old. Full-time job, went to work, went home, went to work. That's all I did. School and work. And then in my 20s, I didn't do anything.
yeah.
No.
So
And I didn't want my kids to have to live that life.
Yeah. Well, I think hindsight's 2020. If I could have started in business a long time ago, I think business and family has really grounded me as a person, and really kind of helped me put my head on straight and give me goals, give me things to work for, and when you become a valuable person by learning different things, investing in yourself. Oh, look, Gronomics is here just so that everybody knows. I'm going to be bringing them in here.
I was about to say, I could see the
after
camera
hours.
moving and you're not doing it.
I know,
What's
thank
up,
God.
Gronomics?
What's
See,
up,
I
everyone?
need a mod
What's up,
because
man?
Gronomics got a promotion and he gets off at a different time, which leaves me empty-handed. So I'm taking
Oh.
applications. You can apply at madmanplant.com under careers. I'm just kidding.
Hashtag will work for free.
No, started at $90K a year with benefits.
Yeah.
As soon as this takes off.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as they take off.
You got it. As soon as it takes off.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
But
See,
no.
I've been in the career I've been in for 19 years, and I think I misrepresented myself about the worth when I was working for that company. Not to cut in the last minute here, but it was more that I was better than they were treating me. That's what made me so mad. I knew my worth. I already knew what I was worth, because I worked as an independent contractor in Missouri when I started out, and I only worked on 3 types of appliances: washers, dryers, and dishwashers, and I was making close to $70K a year working for that lady.
Nice.
So I knew what I could do. I wasn't claiming that for sure, because I had a lot of write-offs. Yeah. My car, my phone, half my house. I had a lot of write-offs back then that I need to get again. But yeah, so I know my worth, really. I knew that, and that was what angered me the most, is because I knew what I was worth, and they treated me like I was their new Joe off the street.
Yeah.
And I was working circles around their experienced technicians, and I was mad. That was what I was most mad about, because I was like, yeah, I'm working better than all these other idiots. You treat me like I'm trash and let them run all over the place. And I was mad. Really, I just wanted to wreck their vehicle, not kill myself.
Yeah. Well,
What about you, Gronomics? You want to weigh in on this conversation?
What are we talking? We're talking about work and everything.
Well, just self-value and stress and anger, because you share a little bit about, you were talking to me the other day about you got a promotion and people have been acting different towards you and everything.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? You're a person that definitely has, deals with anger from time to time. I do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I feel like I'm still in the transitioning stage of that, of learning my value. And once you learn your value, things I know that things start to get easier. It's just I'm still in the process of doing it. Like at work, I got this promotion and everything, and now I got to tell people what to do, like really start laying down the law, and people don't like that, but it's okay. Sometimes I get frustrated every day. Well, I do get frustrated every day with people, but I know when I get home, I become, a different person, and that's really, what helps me. And just knowing who I am too, really. I know these people don't know who I really am, so at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I think that was what I was dealing with back then, because I couldn't medicate very well either, just because I couldn't
Mm.
afford to. So I was just
Right.
doing the bare minimum, and it was not a good way for me to be. So
Yeah. Sometimes I'm a very high paced person when it comes to work or anything. I'm very let's go, go, go. My mind doesn't slow down. So being able to medicate definitely helps, 100%.
yeah, see, I don't medicate at work. That's why I need Cece's coming home tomorrow to start answering the phones for our company. She's coming to run the day to day, so that I can just focus on the work part because we own our own company. She owns it, and I'm actually her employee. But
That's actually
she's coming home to
smart.
that.
Yeah.
Doing it that way so that I can actually focus on my job, because I am that kind of. I have two mindsets. I have the answering the phone for the jobs, and then I have the actually doing the work. And when I'm doing the work, I have trouble switching over from that to the doing the call, answering the phones. And when I answer the phones, I'll take jobs that I shouldn't be taking. I'll be doing stuff that I shouldn't do, because I'll just say yes to get them off the phone because I'm driving, and I'm like, I don't ask all the questions I need to, or I'm standing in another customer's home. So I need her help with that, because I am actually hurting us more than I'm helping us in those situations.
You're
Yes,
100% right.
Yeah, and that's something that he and I have talked about, and we, one of the people that we actually contract with, and he's like, "Oh, well, hey," and I told him, I said, "I'll be honest with you," I said, "You're going to be talking to me starting next week." I said, I'm okay with telling you no. It's not going to hurt my feelings." And he's like, "If
Women
you
are
can't
better
do
at
it, then
business.
tell me no."
Yep.
And I said, "Okay." I said, it's not going to bother me. And he's already actually messaged me twice and, "Hey, can you do this? Can you go do this?" And I'm like, no, that's too far away. It's just not, you have to figure out, again, with like your worth. You also, when you run a business, you have to think about the return on your investment. Well, he is ultimately my investment. So, because he is the one doing the work. So I'm investing in the company, him, and supporting the family. And if it's hurting me more than helping me, I'm not going to do it.
Well,
Yeah, because most of the stuff he's given us is 2 to 3 hours away from our house one way. So that's a whole day for $150.
Oh,
$200.
No. You need to be in the
Right.
thousands.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, because I can make that in a day if I stay locally.
Right. So he's already agreed to some of these things that we're having to go out and do now, and I'm like, damn it. Okay.
Only because we have the parts.
Yeah. So we're working on a couple of those Thursday and Friday that we're like, all right, we got to go take care of these because we have the stuff. We've got to do it. You've already said yes. We've committed to it. So I'm making it worth our while. So it's just, that's part of what he needs help with and running the business, because he is most definitely knows his worth and what he can do. And that's
why I take on stuff people won't do.
Yeah. So
Well,
that's the good thing.
No, same thing. And I tell Lacey all the time that she's much better at the whole people thing and business. You need to do the admin, which she does. Remember, I said she does the emailing. That's part of the delegation. But also, what you're doing is you're starting the evolution of scaling your business and the importance of having somebody else do other things. And when that increases your availability, your schedule, your organization, your outputs, what you will and won't do, you will get more out of your clients who respect your work and your value, and you won't get the pushback. Sometimes it's a little bit scary in the beginning to say no and say, yeah, I can't do that.
Well, I look at it as it's easy money because he's sending me the parts. I don't have to do a diagnosis. He just sends me the parts. I go do it. And then I stop and think about it after I accept it and look and see how far away it is, because I was, in the middle of a different job or something like that, just trying to get, yeah, sure, whatever kind of answer, but not really that informal. But kind of that's the way I was thinking when I accept him. Not intentionally, it's just I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing in front of me and not the phone call I'm taking. And that's where I've been screwing up a little bit.
Well, yes, and also the fact that you need to set boundaries with people. You're in business to make money, not become people's bitches. So you need to understand too that sometimes you need to play a hardball, and if it involves losing the client, oh well, then they really didn't care about it. We have a pretty good day travel rate for anything that's more than 25 miles from us. You should definitely think about implementing that if you don't already on top of your service work. And then also one thing too is see if you can get them on like a monthly retainer or something like that where you can start to predict income. So, like we have a year package that people can sign up for, and it's good because then that's guaranteed money coming in the door. And then you can kind of build that consistency and then drive, that need and supply and demand with that customer. So, it's
that's
a
hard
great
sell
things.
in this area because there's a company that already does stuff like that. Yeah.
Well,
and
you're going to be
a lot
the
of the
next
companies
one.
I can't compete with this company that's been here since 1957.
Yet.
No.
Yeah.
I really don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
And
I don't want their
honestly, we don't
clientele.
want to. Yeah, we don't want a lot of their clientele either. So
I
it's
don't
a
want
different
them.
it's a different mindset of people.
Fair enough.
Where we're at.
So
I don't want to grow my business much further than just enough in this area to maintain our bills and get us out of debt so we can move from here somewhere else where I can restart the business.
yes,
Because I have a plan.
Okay, great.
Kind of.
Oh,
But it's off to the
always
side.
has a plan.
I've got a couple different plans for different areas. It just depends on where she decides for us to go.
CC, where are we going? Where are we going, CC?
Well, I don't know. We're looking
We still
for a
got
lot of
2
different
years.
places. Yeah.
You know where you're going to come? To Fredericksburg, Virginia, to hang out with me.
I know. And
We're trying to
honestly,
actually get there in October, right?
Yeah, we were.
I just won't eat.
He can't eat while we're there, but
We'll have
that's what we were
allergic to
trying to do.
everything.
Yeah, he is.
That would be awesome.
That's what originally I was trying to do, was find a way to be able to save up the money to go out there.
Yeah, because we could drive there. It's only 10 or 11 hours, 14.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
I'm a Midwesterner originally. I'm from the Midwest originally, so I drive. I drive everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm from Kansas, so
everywhere.
we drive everywhere. That's where my home state is, Kansas. So we drive everywhere. I would drive from here to California, and it's 2.5 days to drive to California instead of flying because I would rather drive.
Yeah.
Oh, you're crazy. I don't have patience.
Yeah, I'm going to fly there, champ.
Yeah.
Anything over 5 hours, I'm getting on a plane. If it's 5 hours, 6 hours, maybe I'll drive. But
yeah.
I'm a car guy. I love cars.
Waking up and being there is just so appealing.
See, I like to drive.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason I love my job, because I drive all day.
Yeah. I would do it, and I can do about 10 hours. I don't like doing more than that in a day, just because, sitting in a car as you get older, the longer you do it's not fun and it hurts.
I really can't drive like that much anymore. I can ride. I can't drive that far right now because I have a neck injury. And after about 3 hours, my arms start getting numb. So I can hold onto the wheel and control it as long as I look at my hands. I can see what I'm doing and still make my hands do what they're supposed to, but I can't feel it. That's why she's driving me out of town tomorrow and Friday for work, because I can't drive that far away to do the jobs and still be able to do the jobs when I get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a person that's ridden his motorcycle from here to California and back and done Florida to Virginia multiple times, I'm still taking an airplane.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. I've never flown, so that might be part of my issue. I'm very claustrophobic also.
Check this out, right? You get on the plane, right? And you get a window seat. And what you do is you get on the plane and you lean up against the window, right? And you get one of those little neck pillows and you fall asleep. And when you wake up, you're going to be like a kid in the back seat. We're here. You know what I'm talking about? It's
okay. So I was never that kid. I don't sleep in the car. I won't sleep in the car.
Oh, I do. As soon as I get on the airplane.
No, I can't. My thing. It's a control thing for me. I don't like roller coasters. I don't like riding in the car. Really, she's the only person I can ride in the car with.
I don't think you would like a plane then, especially if you're claustrophobic too.
Exactly.
Yeah, no control and claustrophobia don't go good together in an airplane.
I got it. Yeah, and I'm a big guy too. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'2" and about 275 now, probably.
Yeah, somewhere around there, 270, 275.
I wear a 40 to 42 inch waist, so I'm a big dude. So it's hard for me to get into small spaces anyway.
Have you ever ridden a C-130 Hercules?
I've walked through a few of them, but never ridden in one.
See, we'll make you feel like a small guy.
But I would not be riding in that. I would not be flying in that. I'd be flying in a commercial airline.
That's what you think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You said you were too good for a commercial airline, so now you get military.
I would probably enjoy the military one better because it's a wide open space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they don't even land. What they do is they just tell you to jump, and you just bam, I'm here. So it's like, oh look, everybody, CC and his wife are coming in for a landing. We have like little rocket boosters. You guys can carry the American flag down. We'll do a huge ceremony. It'd be
As
cool.
long as you put the pillow at the bottom and we can just hit it, we're good to go.
There you go.
Entry.
You can do that all yourself. I'll see you from the ground while I'm driving in my own car.
Yeah, well,
that's true.
if I had millions of dollars, believe me, I'd have a grand entrance. Very similar.
I was gonna say that would be really awesome on the fucking barbecue if you just came in like that.
Yeah. Just skydive, right? Just jump.
You could probably
skydive right in.
There's skydiving places in Southwest Missouri near Springfield, out that way
I've
between
been
Springfield and
skydiving
Joplin.
before.
That they would probably let you record an entrance that you could have as your intro for your stuff. You flying in with the American flags, wearing your Madman, everything. They would probably let you record that out there because they don't give a fuck in Missouri.
I'm telling you, let's
I've lived
do
there
it.
for a long time.
Sign me up. I'm ready to go. I've jumped out of a plane before and I loved it. So let's go.
Yeah.
It was actually
I've been bungee jumping.
City skydiving in Las Vegas. You said if
I
I
don't
get
like
under
heights either.
250 pounds, I'll go. Come on. Do it for the gram.
I can't zip line. If you're over 250 pounds, they won't let you on a zip line.
Oh, good thing I weigh 130 pounds.
God, I haven't weighed that since I was 15.
Yeah. And if I take my
I
mask
weighed
off, I
150.
look a little bit older than 15.
I've seen your face.
No. That's why you come to Discord. You can see my face.
I have seen your face.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, that's right.
You've seen mine also.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You were hiding in the bathroom eating, I think, weren't you? While everyone was asleep.
Yes.
Yeah, because my wife yells at me. She's so mean to me.
I thought you just said you were a teen.
I said I was going to cry on camera. I'm going to cry about my wife's abuse. I'm abused pretty regularly.
Crocodile tears.
Yeah.
Or the alligator tears. What are they called?
Emotional. She yells at me. She says I need to go to bed earlier and that we have to get separate rooms because she can't stand me coming in late at night.
Now, I can understand that. I can understand that from my wife say it. My wife would say that too, I think.
I told her we should get our own rooms too, because this way I can hang out and talk with people on Discord and you can be boring and go to sleep. Reverse psychology. I threw it back at her. I was like, no, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah. In our relationship, I'm the one that goes to sleep and he's the one that stays awake.
Yeah,
He's not on Discord, but he stays awake.
Discord. Unless she's on Discord.
Yeah.
And she's up till 11:30.
Yeah, and doing the good
Discord
stuff.
effect.
doing the Discord things, probably watering our plants like I'm going to be after this live here in about
Yeah.
8 minutes.
Hanging out with the
Discord, of
Gromies.
course. That's right. Soon, Bam, Agronomics is
There we
going to be
go.
here. So you better come to the barbecue smoke and smoke out. And we already laid out the vendors, so we got everything laid out. I have an awesome map that I'm going to be emailing. Shows you where to park, where to come in, everything. So it's going to be really cool. I'm just really excited for Agronomics and Green Year to come on down. See, Agronomics comes in early at 7 a.m. in the morning. Green Year comes in the evening around 7 o'clock. So what we're going to do is when I pick Agronomics up, probably going to head back to my house and just chill for a little bit, smoke, hang out. Then we're going to pick Green Year up, and then probably 804 is probably going to be with us because he always hangs out with me and honestly anybody else that wants to. Then we're going to go to DC. Then we're going to head down to the wharf and we're going to get seafood right on the water, do a nice dinner, you know, everybody in, everything like that.
We're out.
Why?
Sounds like we having dinner by ourselves. We're both allergic to seafood.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But we're good.
We're good.
It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. You guys should come. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
We'll,
it would be
sit
the
at the
last of
table.
ours.
Yeah, it would be the last of his. It would be.
I'm not even going to go in. So
Yeah, I'm
sorry.
okay if I don't eat it.
See you,
I can't even be in there.
Thank you for coming by, bro.
Good night.
Yeah, I won't even go in the building because I'm not allergic.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He can't even be in the same room when stuff is cooking that he's allergic to. I mean, the same house, same. He doesn't go to like chicken restaurants, any of that. We don't.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I fully anaphylactic shock. Like you know how kids mostly with peanut allergies. You always hear about the
Yeah.
peanuts. You can't be around them with peanuts or peanut butter. You know, especially if you got younger kids, they're really strict about it at elementary schools. I'm that allergic to poultry, seafood, cumin, peas.
Let me write this down. So
There's a lot.
Let's
There's a
start with
lot.
let's start with what you're not allergic to. Probably be
Yeah.
easier. here.
That's normally, you know, that's what most people
Beef,
actually
pork,
say.
and potatoes.
All right.
And cheese.
So,
I can have cheese.
Beef, pork, potatoes, and cheese. Yeah.
and what type of Lunchables are those in? We're gonna get you some Lunchables, right?
Lunchables?
Yes.
He can't do Lunchables because most of those have turkey in them, even if they say otherwise.
They're
Damn.
expensive now.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, you could. I'd be better off just buying some frozen hamburger patties and frying those every night. That's what I normally do anyway. It's helped me actually lose 30 pounds. So
Damn, congratulations. That's awesome.
Mhm.
yeah, I was over 300 at one point.
Yeah.
I mostly eat a couple hamburger patties a night, 2 or 3, and that's about all I eat for a day. And I'm satisfied. So just
Bye,
high
Root
protein
Nerds. You're
diets.
awesome, dude. Shout out to Root Nerds for donating the V3s to our winners. He's an awesome, awesome guy. Thank you very, very much.
Hell yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
before we wrap things up, I want to get people to find out where they can follow you and your YouTube channel. Also, Agronomics, shout out your channel after CC.
Okay. My YouTube channel is just CC420 on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, the CC420_cannabis. Mr. CC is Mr.CC420.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah. And then
Beans,
you guys
greens,
already
tomatoes,
know
potatoes.
you can find me on Instagram. That's where I spend most of my time at Gronomics with the _. I'll probably start getting more involved with YouTube soon, so maybe keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
definitely keep an eye out for it. And I just want to say that, you know, you guys are all really great people. And really glad to have you guys on my show. And I think we had a really awesome conversation. Agronomics, thank you
Mhm.
for tuning in, even though it was tail end. I always appreciate you making the extra effort to show up. Really means a lot. But Mr. CC and CC, I really appreciate both of you being on tonight. I think it was an awesome time, and I really hope that I provided some value to you guys through our conversation, and the audience and us can all walk away with something. It's all about learning something new each day, gaining new perspectives, seeing things a different way, really enhancing your understanding. So
yeah, and if you're struggling with addiction, just all you have to do is ask for help. All you have to do is ask for help.
Yes. Can't be afraid to ask for help.
Not at all.
Yep.
Also, just real quick, on Madman Plant, right after, we're going to be in the Discord. If you don't know how to get to our Discord and you are new, I put it on the front page right here for you. Bam, just click that link. We'll take you straight through. Discord's the best way to get to know us. We're on there all the time. We server hop from time to time between our Discords, between Crimsons, GIs, myself. But please, definitely check it out. We'd love to see you there and get to see you on and off camera. If you, this is one thing I need to address though. If you have currently messaged me on Instagram, I've been extremely busy with my companies lately. And when I'm on social media, I'm either posting from another platform called Metricool that does all my platforms at one time when I post, or I'm on just posting and then I'm off. So if you send me a message and I don't respond, the best thing you can do is go to my suggestions form on Discord, which is bam, right here, right there under the suggestion box, and click that, and it's going to open this up, and then just tell me exactly what you want. It'll go directly to my email, and I'll see it right away. I do apologize. It's just with all the companies and everything, I just haven't been as on social media as much, just because everything has been, in real life. So I do apologize. But other than that, I really hope that everybody has a good night. And we are going to be doing another game show with a giveaway coming up this Sunday, because this is the last and first Sunday of the month. And this is going to be very cool. I have some pretty good prizes I'll be announcing throughout this week. Next week, we got more people coming your way. So really appreciate you guys. And I'll see you guys in Discord in just a couple minutes. Have a wonderful night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Bye-bye.